Hey fellow Force users, what is up? It's Jasmine, the Ahsoka Tano fan, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So guys, if you didn't guess it already, I decided to go with a Barriss inspired look, and this is also a first for me, guys. This is the first time I've actually cosplayed as somebody who I don't really like. She's a great character, but obviously I didn't like what she did to Ahsoka at all. She betrayed Ahsoka and framed her for the Jedi Temple bombing, which almost got Ahsoka killed. So yeah, she can kind of kick rocks, I'm not gonna lie. But at the same time, I am really looking forward to seeing more of her story and her character fleshed out in the Tales of the Empire. So 3 of the episodes are going to be focusing on Barriss Offee, and the other 3 are going to be focusing on Morgan Elsbeth. Morgan, obviously, we were first introduced to her in The Mandalorian, and we also saw her return in Ahsoka. Unfortunately, we know her fate already, but nonetheless, she's definitely a fascinating character, so I'm looking forward to seeing her stories. I'm gonna do this video a little bit different, guys. I'm actually going to go a little bit out of order here. I'm gonna do all 3 episodes in the same video. So I'm gonna have one video for all the Barriss episodes and then one video for all the Morgan episodes. So anyways, I don't want to speculate too much. We're gonna start with episode 4 now, Devoted. So without further ado, guys, let's slash our way into the episode and check out what's in store for us. I'm so hyped, guys. Oh shit, she's having a nightmare. She's probably thinking of Order 66, maybe? Or she sensed it, maybe. Oh. No way. She sees the temple in flames. She's probably thinking, damn, that's what I tried to do.
Tell me what's happening. Has there been an attack?
Just be glad you're not a Jedi anymore. But tomorrow, they won't exist.
Wow, chills. Wow. But how come they won't execute her and consider her a former Jedi, but they never considered Ahsoka a former Jedi?
Stand up, Barriss Offee.
Wow, I guess that's the next day now. Oh shit. There she is. One of the Inquisitors from Obi-Wan, the 4th sister.
I don't go by that name anymore.
Does she used to be a Jedi? She said, I don't go by that name anymore.
You are serving a life sentence for crimes against the Republic. But at your trial, you accused the Jedi of murder and treason. It seems you were right after all.
No, she wasn't.
The Jedi tried to assassinate Chancellor Palpatine.
That's a lie, man.
I'm here to present you with an opportunity, Barriss. Will you take it?
Well, I guess she doesn't have much choice. Wow. Oh my gosh. Oh. What a dope intro. So wow, she must have been a former Jedi then. There I am, guys. That legit looks like a prison. I wonder who all the workers are. The people in red?
Barriss.
Dante.
She obviously knows them.
The Jedi failed the Republic. We must build a new covenant to ensure the security of our empire.
What empire?
The Republic has been reorganized into the first galactic empire, Barriss Offee. Out of chaos,
Reorganize,
Emperor
that's another way to
Palpatine
put
will
it.
bring order. Prove yourselves worthy of this task today, and you may join us. I advise you not to leave until we meet again.
All right. Yeah, her hair is pretty. It's kind of got a red glow to it, red tint to it. All right, so we're seeing the Grand Inquisitor again. So those other guys, I wonder if she'll have to kill them somehow. In the trailer, it did look like she was sparring at least one of them.
What he said back there? Doesn't sound any better than the Jedi, Dante.
Exactly.
I wouldn't.
Why should we listen to you?
Little bit of tension there.
What happens when they find out you're gone?
That's not my problem.
Alright, I think that guy's days are numbered. Ooh, look at that shot. That's so visually stunning.
Follow me.
Are they gonna ask about the other guy, or do they already know that he left?
Your friend had a terrible accident.
Oh, snap.
Sadly, we must proceed without him.
There's blood on that.
Barriss, come with me.
I got it. So I guess she's gonna train him, and then Barriss is gonna train with the Grand Inquisitor.
The lessons you learn from the Jedi greatly limit your power. Take this weapon and attack me.
I was gonna say, it looked like he was holding it upside
You're
down.
not armed.
I don't need to be.
Snap. She's learning that they're much different than the Jedi.
You're holding back. Try again. Stop fighting like a Jedi. Attack! Better.
Oh. Oh, she did cut him.
Now I feel your anger.
Oh. Yikes, she wasn't prepared for this.
Mercy only breeds defeat.
No mercy.
Powerful.
The blood drop, man, the animation. Is he bleeding as well? Wow. I swear, guys, seeing Order 66 and its aftermath never gets old. It always hits the same.
I must confess, you've impressed us. You both have.
Yeah, this is not gonna end well.
Unfortunately, there is only room in our ranks for one.
We knew this was coming.
You may choose not to fight, of course.
But I'm sure if you don't...
In which case,
Oh.
both of you will die.
Exactly, I was gonna say then they'll have an accident if they don't fight. Oh, wow.
We don't have to do this.
They killed Amar, didn't they?
Oh. He grabbed that
What are
blade.
you doing?
Embracing the future.
Oh, man. Who would want to sign up for this, man? Oh. Oh, it burned her. Holy crap. Oh. Oh. Oh, just like that, eh? Just like she did Letta Termond.
Welcome, sister.
Wow. Just like that. It's interesting how the sky changes color, kind of. First there was a red hue, then now there's a green one. Oh. There are the others. Merrick and the Inquisitor that Ahsoka defeated.
Now it is time you meet your new master.
Oh, man. Oh my goodness. But how is Vader gonna feel with Barriss? Wow. Is he gonna recognize her? Well, yeah, he should. Wow. Wow, 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 wow.
Long live the Empire.
Wow. So that's her helmet.
Long live the Empire.
Oh my goodness. That kind of gave me chills just there. What? That was so good. That could have been a whole series in itself. Wow. All right, guys. So what a solid episode. Kind of like what I said already, that really felt as though it could have been a series in itself. That was just amazing. First off, I mentioned during my reaction, but Order 66 will always hit the same. It's always just as tragic, just as chilling. And this episode was no different. It opens up with Barriss. She seems to be having a dream initially, but I think what was actually happening was she was sensing Order 66 as it was going down, just as Ahsoka did in the Clone Wars final arc in the last season. And I mentioned this also, but it was kind of ironic when she looked out and saw the temple in flames, because that is essentially similar to what she did by orchestrating the temple bombing in the first place back in the Clone Wars season 5. But nonetheless, she did still seem concerned and did seem to care about what was going on. She didn't seem too thrilled to find out what was going on with the Jedi. And in fact, you kind of felt that this episode. By the very end, she seemed a little bit hesitant to just jump to killing her friend like that. And even when she was fighting the Inquisitor, she was a little hesitant. And I think that's meant to show us that the Jedi does still live in her deep down. I just think that she had a deep disagreement and conflict with the way the Jedi went about things, but I don't know if she necessarily wanted to see them all dead and be executed in the way that they were. So I kind of like that they had that side to Barriss this episode, to show that she wasn't 100%. Well, what she did in the Clone Wars was pretty messed up, I'm not gonna lie, but in this episode I didn't see a person who was completely cold-blooded and cold-hearted. I saw someone who was perhaps conflicted, who had time to maybe reflect on their actions while in prison, and was kind of pushed towards the Empire and slowly fell into it. So that kind of leads me to my next point a little bit, which was the difference between the Jedi doctrine and the Sith doctrine. You really felt that this episode. I think one big difference is the idea of choice. If you remember from the Clone Wars, of course you guys remember, how can you not? When Ahsoka chose to leave the Order, she did that freely. She later chose to come back to help them with the siege of Mandalore. All that was her free will. But you saw what happened when the one guy this episode, I forget his name, Amar I think it was, chose to leave. He chose to leave and then ended up being killed for it. And so I think that's a big stark difference between the Jedi doctrine and the Sith doctrine right there, is there's definitely more choice involved with the Jedi. I think that's one of the biggest reasons why you could argue the Republic was still much better than the Empire, despite it having its faults. But it's interesting still how the Grand Inquisitor describes the Empire. He says that the Republic has been reorganized into the Empire and they're under a new vision. And in a sense, that is kind of the case. As much as governments change and leaders change over time, there is a lot of remnants of the previous government that still remain. And a lot of people that worked for the Republic or served with the Republic went on to serve with the Empire. A big part of that were the clones, right? And then later we see when the Empire falls and the New Republic forms, there are still members of the Empire that are serving under the New Republic. You see that kind of alluded to in The Mandalorian, as well as the Ahsoka series. Even Dante, when they were in their cell, kind of looked like a cell, I wouldn't really call it a quarters. He said that what he said sounds not that much different than the Jedi. So that just kind of, again, reinforces the point that there are kind of similarities between the Jedi and the Republic versus the Sith and the Empire. You also saw during Barriss' sparring session with the Inquisitor the difference in fighting styles between the Jedi and the Sith. The Sith doctrine more involves you fighting with your anger and really utilizing that as your weapon. And that's what the Inquisitor was training Barriss to do. But she struggled with that initially because she was still fighting like a Jedi, which kind of relates to my earlier point, which is that much of the Jedi doctrine still lives within her. But yeah, the Jedi, on the other hand, they fought the complete opposite. They fought without emotions and were told not to let your emotions get the better of you and not to fight with hate and anger. And in fact, that could actually distract you and weaken you. So it's interesting, again, how the philosophies are so different. One telling you that your anger is your weapon, you must rely on that in order to defeat your opponent, and the other saying don't give in to your anger because that will weaken you. I think there were a lot of significant visuals this episode as well. So number one, with Barriss being in her cell at the beginning of the episode, she resembled Luminara a lot to me. You'll recall we saw Luminara in a similar setting in Rebels, but of course it wasn't actually her. It was a hologram of her from when she was imprisoned. The Empire was using her corpse to lure any remaining Jedi out of hiding, which to this day is still one of the most disturbing things we've seen in Star Wars, in my opinion. And that kind of leads me to wonder as well what Luminara thought through all of this, through everything that Barriss did with the Jedi Temple bombing and betraying Ahsoka and getting imprisoned. That's one thing I wish we could have seen from the Clone Wars, actually. You'll notice in terms of color and shades go in this episode, there were first of all a lot of blacks and dark grays, which I think is meant to make the setting feel very gloomy. You also see a lot of red and some green as well. There's a moment where the sky kind of has this red tint to it, and then another moment where the sky has a more green tint to it. Green was the color of the blade that she used during the beginning of the episode, and that I think more represents the Jedi side to her. And then of course red is what she used in the Clone Wars season 5 finale when she had already fallen to the dark side, and those were actually Ventress's lightsabers that she stole. And going forward as an Inquisitor, she's presumably going to be using a red blade again. And green is also the color of her skin as well, so you could argue that the red and green contrast is symbolic. I think the final fight as well was very symbolic. It was very representative of the current climate. So now that the Republic has fallen and the Empire has risen in its place, you either have to quickly adapt to that or else you get left behind and die. And that was quite literally the nature of this fight. If one of them didn't kill the other, then they were both gonna die from the looks of it. It also shows how certain situations can make people turn desperate. Barriss was his friend, and then as soon as he was put in that situation, he didn't hesitate to grab the lightsaber and try and kill her. I think that's what the Empire relies on as well. I think that there are some people who are perhaps freely loyal to them, kind of like Crosshair in the Bad Batch, how he was in the very beginning. He freely chose to go with them. But then I think there are a lot of people who are forced to go with them. Even Barriss in this episode, at the beginning, she was told, hey, this is a good opportunity. Do you choose to accept it? But then there's 2 clones standing at her cell door with blasters. She doesn't really have that much of a choice. And they were even told by the Grand Inquisitor they couldn't leave their cell. So how much free will did she really have to join the Empire in this case? What would they have done if she refused, right? I think that's what's so complex about the Empire, that they rely on all different types of people who are truly loyal and people that were kind of forced to be in that position. Even the clones, you could argue, fall under that category. So my question is, what now? Barriss is now an Inquisitor. We didn't see her show up in the Obi-Wan series. We didn't see her show up in Ahsoka. Not yet anyway. I still think that's a possibility. So when will we see her again, and how powerful will she become? In the sparring session by the end, she was able to force push the Grand Inquisitor. So I wonder if that was teasing her potential to become one of the most powerful Inquisitors. And I've already said this before in my trailer reaction, but I definitely think an Ahsoka Barriss rematch is bound to happen at this point. That would just be an epic direction to take, both for Ahsoka and Barriss's characters. But yeah, guys, excellent episode. I really enjoyed that. I wish it was longer, but at least we still have more to get to. So without further ado, guys, let's slash into episode 5 now and check out what's in store for us.
From the intel, it seems unclear whether a Jedi is involved or not.
The Grand Inquisitor wouldn't send us here if the intel wasn't credible.
Wait, is it possible Ahsoka would pop up in this? I wonder. Definitely looks like a destroyed village.
These people have nothing. How can the Emperor allow this to happen?
People show loyalty to the Empire, they will be allowed to flourish. But not before.
Then let's complete our mission and allow them to prosper.
Oh, that's what you believe, eh? Was that on Tatooine? Realization, okay. The animation is incredible. Isn't this where they went for Obi-Wan, or no? It looks kind of similar.
Where is the Jedi hiding?
There is no Jedi here.
Hold on. Maybe it is Kenobi they're looking for. Hold on.
We're here to protect you.
Right.
Jedi are dangerous.
You know something. It's all right. You can tell me.
Now, will you tell me what I want to know?
They have very different ways of questioning people.
Was there a Jedi here? They're hiding in the mountains.
Oh no.
Sister, the mountains.
Mm.
You gave me your word.
She's gonna kill him. Wow.
People are judged by their actions.
Well then.
Oh my goodness gracious. Wow. You know, I'm starting to think she's not gonna be with the Empire much longer. Wow. Is she gonna kill the kid now too? Wow. Oh my goodness. But you know what? I wonder if...
Back.
Oh my gosh. So they're gonna take the kid? If only Barriss could have, I don't know, like gone with her first outside the village, then said, okay, I have a hunch they're in the mountains or something. Because the way she did it, it gave away that the kid just told her. I don't know. Maybe there's no way to go about that. Oh, man. What a bitch, eh? For killing all those people.
As Inquisitors, we bring order, not chaos.
Rebellion creates chaos. Eliminating
Wow.
it brings order.
But creating fear will turn the people against us.
Oh, those who witness our strength will respect it.
That's messed up, man. Okay, hang on a second. So is this a Jedi that we know? Oof. The fourth sister doesn't seem too concerned with Barriss' safety. Oh, she's fighting already. Oh my gosh. Wait, is that a Jedi we know? I don't know. I don't think so. Wow. She's pretty good with that lightsaber, I can't lie, the fourth sister.
You need to surrender.
You're a traitor and a murderer.
Who is this Jedi? Obviously knows about her though. Oh my gosh.
The Jedi are gone. Set down your weapon. Come with me.
No.
I know what it's like to be lied to be deceived.
You know what it's like to do the lying and deceiving also, Barriss. The fourth sister is gonna kill this Jedi right here.
I feel so alone.
Then come with me.
She's gonna kill him right now. Yep. Man, oh man. Oh, I wonder if all those lightsabers the Inquisitor had
They're
Barriss
still
train with.
alive. We need to get them to the ship.
When Barriss, the Inquisitor had when Barriss was training, I wonder if that was from
Fine.
Fallen Jedi.
It's not worth the trouble.
Wow.
They were about to surrender.
Wow.
Irrelevant. The Jedi are a threat to be eradicated.
Wow, what a bitch.
Then you have one Jedi left to deal with.
She's gonna face her. I knew it. She's not gonna last with the Empire too long. Ooh. Damn. Now hang on a second. Does this take place before or after Kenobi? Maybe she's not really dead, or this takes place after Kenobi.
You're not alone.
Man. Alright, guys, so another great episode. So quick comments on that end there with the fourth sister. So it looked like Barriss pushed her off the cliff, in which case she may be dead, but with Star Wars you never know. But if that is the case and she is in fact dead, then this would mean this episode would have to take place after Kenobi, because obviously we see the fourth sister in Kenobi. That's interesting. I'd be curious to know what the chronological timeline of this is. But yeah, speaking of Kenobi, it kind of looked like they went to the same place they did in Kenobi when the third sister was questioning Owen. I could be wrong about that, but the setting just visually looks similar. But during that whole scene, you could definitely tell, and throughout this episode, that Barriss and the fourth sister, who we know as Lynn, have very different ways of questioning people. And in this case, what's so ironic is that Barriss's method of questioning actually worked. She was nice, she was patient, she was gentle, and she was able to get that kid to divulge the Jedi's whereabouts. I think there's a couple things that this showed us. For one, I think it shows that the Jedi code does still live in Barriss. You saw her show a lot of compassion this episode, both with the child that she got the information from and also with the Jedi towards the end of the episode. It shows that people can change over time, similar to Emery's change that we saw in the Bad Batch. Sorry, spoilers if you haven't watched the Bad Batch. As soon as she found out that children were involved and they were the ones being experimented on by the Empire, then she finally had a change of heart and came over to the right side. So it does show people can change over time, but from this episode, I'm really having a hard time believing that this is the same girl that bombed the Jedi Temple, killing who knows how many people. But so back to the different methods of questioning they have. We saw what happened with the fourth sister and the villagers. She just killed all of them because that one man did not tell her what she wanted to know, which is obviously so cruel, so cold, and just shows the lengths that the Empire is willing to go to get what they want, and they're very, very unforgiving. Shortly after that scene, her and Barriss have a conversation about fear and order and chaos, which I found very interesting. Barriss said something along the lines of, we're supposed to bring order, not chaos, which we heard the Grand Inquisitor talk about last episode. The Empire's here to bring order. To which the fourth sister responds something along the lines of, the rebellion causes chaos, so therefore we need to eliminate it. In which case Barriss says that she worries if people start to fear them too much, then they may not be loyal to them. But Lynn, on the other hand, sees fear as a sign of respect. So they definitely have contrasting views with one another. I think there's a little bit of truth to what both of them are saying, but the problem is you can't really have too much of either order or chaos. If you have too much of one or the other and it creates an imbalance, it will ultimately end up creating more chaos. So if you have too much chaos and no order at all, obviously there's going to be too much chaos. But if you have too much order and you restrict people too much and you're too unforgiving in the way that the Empire is, you will cause people to turn against you and you will create a rebellion which they see as chaos. You'll end up creating this chaos that you seek to avoid. But again, you just see how unforgiving the Empire is, or specifically the fourth sister in this episode, with killing all those villagers. Even at the end, the Inquisitor ends up killing the Jedi. This was after the Jedi seemed to be coming around. And speaking of which, I don't believe we've seen that Jedi before. I believe that's a new character. Obviously somebody from Barriss's past, or someone that knows of Barriss. She was being called things like traitor and whatnot, so obviously you can't say those things about Barriss without actually having known her or known of her. To be honest, I'm actually suspecting that that might have been a non-binary character. They kept referring to this Jedi as they, them, so I don't know if that was intentional, if this is a non-binary character, or if that just happened to be how they were referring to the character. But either way, it does seem to be a new character that we haven't seen before. And I think that the purpose was just to show here how unforgiving the Empire is towards Jedi. And then this prompted Barriss to end up going against the fourth sister at the end. The question I have now is, where will Barriss go from here? It seems as though she is done with the Empire. Having killed or presumably killed the fourth sister, that is no doubt going to have consequences, so I wouldn't be surprised if the Empire goes after her now. She's got an injured Jedi with her, she's got a kid with her, so what is going to happen with these two, and how are they going to help Barriss? What are their roles going to be going forward? And I do still have that question, guys. Is this Ahsoka Barriss rematch going to happen? Because now, from the looks of it, if she is defecting from the Empire, I don't necessarily see how she would come face to face with Ahsoka, or at least not in a way that would lead to a duel. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see what happens going forward with this character. So anyways, guys, without further ado, let's jump into the third and final episode of the Barriss episodes, which happens to also be the final episode, episode 6 of the Tales of the Empire. So yeah, let's slash our way in and check out what's in store for us. Okay, we're definitely on a cold planet. Who are these people? That's something buried under the snow. It's like, oh. Huh. Is that an actual creature, or is that a human or human-looking person in disguise?
We seek the healer.
Oh, okay, never mind. You get what I was saying, right? I don't know if it's an actual animal or someone wearing a disguise.
Follow me.
Okay. Who is that baby? I wonder. The way out.
Come. She will see you.
Okay. She. Who is this healer? Someone we know? Is this Barriss or something?
Come forward. You're safe here.
It is her. So she's like a healer now out in the middle of nowhere? She does look older and her hair's shorter now.
The Empire came to our village and examined all of the children.
They took samples of their blood.
Right, we know what that's for, guys.
I know of what you speak. My family faced a similar situation, but it was the Jedi who came and took me.
Ah.
I saw amazing things, traveled the stars with my master,
Luminara.
for a darkness took me.
Are you saying our child is a Jedi?
No. But your child has within him the potential. Now, such gifts are a curse. The Empire will take your child and use them.
Who's outside there? I just saw a shadow go by.
Someone is coming.
Who is it? Why do I feel like it's gonna be the Inquisitor, the fourth sister? She's not really dead, is she? Or someone from the Empire because of what she did.
You are dismissed. Take this family and go.
Where are we taking them?
To see an old friend.
To
She'll
see an
understand
old-
what to do.
To see an old friend. Man, what? Hold on. Why do I feel like she's about to die right now?
Pay you.
Live.
Live. Oh my gosh, guys. I know I keep bringing up Ahsoka, but when she says old friend, do you think she could be talking about Ahsoka? Because they were friends at one point. I don't know. An old friend. She'll know what to do, so it is a she. Okay. That's definitely an Inquisitor. That's her, isn't it? The fourth sister. Hold on. That's her. She hasn't aged at all. Wow.
How ironic that when I am not seeking you, I find you at last. I have been sent for the child.
Alright. So it begins.
Chasing down innocent children for your empire.
You're a traitor. I wouldn't expect
She's heard that
you to
before.
Understand.
I do not.
Do not call me that.
Does she still have her lightsaber though? Barriss? Man.
Your anger makes you predictable.
Man, she's almost back to being a Jedi now. Or a gray Jedi. Oh. Man.
I warn you not to follow the child into that cave. And if you go in, you will not come out.
Fear is my ally, not yours.
Oh my gosh. You know what that reminded me of, guys? The Weapons Factory episode from the Clone Wars. Where they had to go into that cave and it was like a maze, basically. And she memorized all the paths. Oh. She did warn her. What else is in this cave? Wow. So what if she gets trapped in there and then she just... That's it. She just dies, just starves to death or freezes to death in there. Oh my gosh. She is lost. She told you. She hears it, but I think she doesn't know how to get there. That really sucks. So is she gonna make it out of here? Is Barriss gonna find her in here?
I warned you.
Enough of your trickery!
Lay down your weapon, and I'll show you the way out.
Do you know what they'll do to me for my failure?
It seems Fear is not your ally, but your master.
Oh, true words right there.
Barriss!
Let me help you.
Did she just kill her?
Barriss!
Oh my god, no way! What?
You know the way out. You just have to accept it, Lynn.
There is no way out, is there?
That's what the Empire wants you to think.
What? No way! She's trying to kind of show her the way through the forest so she could sense it, maybe?
I'm gonna get you out of here.
Oh, so is Barriss dead? Oh, she left her lightsaber there. I saw some, I could see her, like her breath coming out. So I don't know if she's actually dead. Hope not. She found the way out. Okay, interesting. Alright guys, so another solid episode. I will admit when I first started this episode, I wasn't 100% sure the direction they were taking with it, but I think they actually wrapped it up pretty nicely. So let's get into it. So you can tell when the episode starts off, Barriss is some sort of healer and she has definitely taken a new path and become more of a gray force user, a lot like Ahsoka. Heads up guys, I'm gonna make quite a few Ahsoka references because they're just there in plain sight and I can't ignore them. So just bear with me. So it looks like she's taken on a new path now. And I found it interesting how she talked about how she was brought to the temple as a young kid, as a child, and how the parents of this child said the Empire tested their blood and wanted to take them. And this is the crazy thing is, of course, the Empire is worse than the Republic and the Jedi and whatnot, but this conversation really does show us that the Jedi did things that were somewhat similar to what the Empire was doing. Obviously, they weren't experimenting on kids. That's a new level of low, and we saw that in the Bad Batch as well. But the Jedi, the fact that they would still seek out Force-sensitive kids and then recruit them into their organization, you could argue that part is similar to what the Empire has done. Barriss has seen both sides of it, and that's perhaps why she, A, lost faith in the Jedi eventually, and B, ended up defecting from the Empire as well. I think her bringing that up was almost kind of made to make us feel uncomfortable in a way. We've always seen the Jedi and the Republic as the good guys and then the Empire and the Sith as the bad guys. But when we are forced to confront the fact that some things they have done is similar, it kind of creates a little bit of an uncomfortable feeling, right? But yeah, you could argue in this episode, Barriss essentially got everything she wanted. She was able to save that child and the child's family, and she was able to bring her former comrade to the light side. All right, so this episode's called The Way Out, and there was a lot of focus on this cave. I did mention in my reaction, but this cave reminded me a lot of the catacombs. I couldn't think of the word for it during my reaction, but the catacombs on Geonosis that we saw Ahsoka and Barriss, another Ahsoka reference there, sorry guys, infiltrate back in the Clone Wars. And if you guys will recall, Barriss had memorized the entire catacombs basically, so she was able to guide Ahsoka and herself through. And I think it was kind of similar to what we saw in this episode with Barriss knowing the path through this confusing maze. But you saw that when the fourth sister went in the maze, initially she wasn't able to find her way out. From the moment that she dueled Barriss, she was slashing at Barriss and Barriss was just calmly avoiding her strikes. And then she did not heed Barriss's warning and went into the maze anyway. I keep calling it a maze, but sorry, it's a cave. She went into the cave anyway, and even when she was in the cave and she got lost, she was slashing around. And I think what that shows is the only way she knows how to solve problems is through violent means, which we saw last episode when she killed all those villagers. Despite not having to do that, they already had the information they needed. And so now she's lost, and her solution again is to just strike her surroundings and cut her way through the walls and hopefully find a way out that way. In the end, it was patience and understanding and listening to your surroundings through the Force that is what allowed them both to get out the cave. And I'm not sure if Barriss kind of showed her the way through the Force by the end there, or if the fourth sister was able to come to that realization on her own. But I think in a way, this is meant to show us that perhaps you need a little bit of both philosophies, both the Sith Imperial philosophy and the Jedi Republic philosophy. Sometimes there are cases where maybe you need to be a little bit more aggressive in pursuit of your goals, but there are other times where you need to learn how to step back and be patient and become in tune with your surroundings, and that is what the fourth sister wasn't able to do in the beginning, but she did end up doing by the end. Perhaps if these philosophies had been balanced a bit better with the governments that were in power, you would have had a lot more of a prosperous society, and the empire wouldn't have become a thing in the first place. And similarly, the empire might not have fallen the way that they did. You always need a balance. You cannot have too much of one philosophy and not enough of the other. I think the way the fourth sister had to go into this cave of darkness and ended up coming out into the light shows that sometimes you may have to go through periods of darkness in order to find or rediscover yourself. And that is essentially what happened to her. She went into that cave as the fourth sister and essentially came out as Lynn. And in her slashing around, which is something you could argue is very chaotic, not very orderly, because Lynn always talks about bringing order, right, by eliminating the chaos. Well, and in all that chaos, she ended up striking Barriss when she didn't intend to, and that shows why you need to not just be so quick to use violence all the time. And that was ironic too, because by her changing her perspective and her mindset and no longer just slashing around aimlessly, which you could argue is chaotic, she ended up bringing balance and order and adopting on a new mindset. So in fact, what she said last episode about eliminating chaos in order to bring about order is true, but the way that she practiced that philosophy was very different when serving under the Empire. And in fact, how she practiced it in this episode, I think, is how it's supposed to be practiced. But it had to do with her own identity and for her eliminating her own chaos to bring order within herself. So I'm wondering, in the future, what are we going to see from these characters? First of all, is Barriss dead? At first it seemed as though she might have killed her there, but then Lynn said, I'm going to get you out. So maybe she's helping Barriss the same way that Barriss helped the Jedi in the last episode, and maybe in fact Barriss is not dead, but she's just injured. Barriss was referred to as the healer this episode, so is Lynn potentially going to take on that role, or at least to help heal Barriss? And the two of them will team up. So will they join the rebellion? There's obviously been a lot of time that has passed from last episode to this episode. Barriss is visibly older, but they still do mention the Empire, and the Inquisitors are still around. So I'm assuming that Vader is still around. So this must be before Return of the Jedi at least. So does that mean we could see them join the rebellion potentially? The one thing I'll say is, I've already mentioned it several times, I would have like to see an Ahsoka Barriss rematch. I think that could potentially have been a missed opportunity, because for them to bring back Barriss in this way, two characters that had similar things happen to them but ultimately walked different paths, them meeting each other again on the battlefield with Ahsoka being on the side of the rebellion and Barriss being on the side of the Empire, would have been epic in my opinion. I actually like the direction that Barriss took in this episode, but I kind of wish that we could have seen this Ahsoka rematch happen before Barriss had her doubts and her change of heart. But who knows, maybe it's still possible we could see it. They could potentially give that to us in a story that takes place before this episode. But even if that were the case, it wouldn't hit the same, because you would know that Barriss wouldn't be able to die, because this episode would take place after that. Anyways, that's just my opinion. I trust the writers. They know what they're doing. So if they didn't feel that that was necessary to include in the story, then maybe it wasn't. But just me personally, I would have loved to have seen that. But yeah, guys, so that concludes the Barriss episodes of Tales of the Empire. I think overall they were really well done. My only complaint is that we can't have more of this, to be honest. These episodes are obviously short. That's their style. That's the same way they were in Tales of the Jedi. But the story was really good, and I think they did really well fleshing out Barriss's character. and filling in more gaps that were previously missing. And I hope to potentially see more of her story in the future in some format, whether it be in animation or live action. Anyways, guys, you let me know down below in the comments what you thought of the Barriss episodes of Tales of the Empire. As always, guys, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video covering the Morgan Elsbeth episodes. Until next time, guys, take care and see you soon.